Hey, so let's talk about this weekend, man. I think we had well, it wasn't as good as the weekend before, but we still had some pretty good games.
I don't know, man. These playoffs have been fantastic.
Yeah, they've been the best playoffs as a whole.
They have been.
We've had in a while. So let's start with the early game. Well, yeah, it was the early game.
Yes.
The Bengals at Kansas City, and there's a lot to talk about in this game. So let's start with the fun story. Let's start with the Bengals and talk about Burrow and
Joe Cool.
Smoking Joe
Burr and that group of young players. But, man, I tell you what was pretty impressive to me is what they did on defense in the second half.
Yeah.
Wow.
Changed up their coverage and kind of made the Chiefs look like they did early in the season. They were playing sort of just playing coverage. They stopped blitzing, and it looked like Mahomes is back to being impatient. And I was just super impressed with how they turned that around.
He took a couple of terrible sacks towards the end of that game too,
man.
and
he had nowhere to go. Yeah,
no, and I intentionally threw out that hex text where I was like, oh my god, Kansas City looked unstoppable for their first 3 drives.
They did.
I was like, oh shit, this is a wrap.
Yeah.
So kudos to the locker room at halftime that says we can go out and win this game. They turned their defensive scheme around to see that nucleus of young players stay as poised as they did to mount that comeback. And I mean, Burrow screwed up at one point and threw that pick too.
Yes, he did.
We're like, all right, that probably just killed the momentum.
Yeah.
But Joey Cool, man, he kept his head on him. Chase put up big numbers. T. Higgins put up nice numbers.
You can't say enough, and they figured out how to get Chase free in the second half. But you can't say enough. Like the defense, man, there was no answers. They dropping the guys in coverage, and I think it really messed with them the same way teams were doing them early in the season, where he didn't want to take he even I think admitted it in the post game press conference that he was kind of passing up on some of the underneath stuff.
Yeah,
and they were trying to push the ball down the field, and they just I could count like 3 or 4 times where you just see Mahomes turning and then turning and turning. And
I just can't imagine being a Chiefs fan, like having the meltdown of like, oh, like we're gonna lose this game, like like I just
at home
going into half, like, and it's almost like poetic how like they tried going for like because they tried scoring right before the half.
That was terrible,
and then it just
that was all on Mahomes.
Down from there,
that was all on Mahomes. That was such a bad decision, and he thought they had a timeout. Decision.
Yeah,
I mean, how do you not come away with 3 be up?
Did he thought they had a timeout? Is that why he did that?
I heard that. I think there's a video going around with him trying to call timeout.
All right. So I was going to say, I mean, that would be an obvious like scapegoat to say I thought I had a timeout there.
Kind of like Tom Brady. Like I thought we had 4.
Yeah.
But even if you thought he had a timeout, it's a bad play. I mean, you still would have to rush and call the timeout.
So just like any time,
it's got to be in the end zone.
Fourth down, you never throw short of the sticks, right? You're taught that. Fourth down, you never throw short of the sticks. 4 seconds left. You have time for one play. You don't throw short of the goal line.
Yeah.
You don't.
Throwing into the end zone, it's like your first read. If it's not there, you throw it away.
Yep, take the field goal.
Right? So they screwed up, and the game did change there. But what I will say about the Chiefs is I think you got to start looking at, as much as everybody loves Andy Reid, the 4 NFC championships with the Eagles, 4 with Kansas City. But
I won't even do it.
But he didn't win a Super Bowl with the Eagles. He won 1 with the Chiefs, and you're going to start looking at him and Mahomes the way you're looking at Rodgers. You know, when Rodgers got to the Super Bowl, won that Super Bowl, 1 Super Bowl with Rodgers, the best quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league. They've been there 4 years in a row now. They get 1, but questionable stuff happening. And now that big contract for Mahomes is going to start kicking in.
It's an interesting take, yeah.
Kelsey is 32, going to be 33.
Yeah.
That team's you're going to start losing pieces. You can't keep paying everybody. Everybody thinks that, they'll be back. It doesn't work like that in
it's
NFL.
Gotta be something
it's only happened one time where it's the Patriots. They've been everybody else. It's
and even when
up and down.
Even when it does happen, like last year, Tampa Bay was the blueprint of that, right? Everybody was getting older. Everybody was on expiring contracts. They win the Super Bowl, and they're like, let's keep this team together. And they did, and they brought almost everybody back. And then look what happened. Age showed itself towards the end of the season there, and
so it doesn't
that doesn't even always work out either. I mean, it just might be Kansas,
and
Kansas City might have missed their window.
Oh well, I don't think their window's closed, but it's not. They had a 4-year window here where they only won 1.
Now
it's going to get tougher though, because now you got
Josh Allen.
And the point I was making last week that people try to kill me about Carr. My point was that Carr was in the division. Okay, so now you got
Dude,
they don't understand that.
They don't understand. But, Derek Carr is an amazingly above average quarterback. Derek Carr is fantastic. Well, I've been saying it since his rookie season. Yeah. Derek Carr puts up numbers year after year after year with squadouche. People want to talk about
that's true.
People want to talk about Aaron Rodgers never has anything. Well, Aaron Rodgers has Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers has had pieces.
Yeah.
Derek Carr always gets shit. He had Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper didn't even like playing there.
Amari Cooper was terrible when he was so hot.
He was having a problem. Yeah, that's true.
But my point last week for Rodgers going there was
I did love that you got killed for that. Though.
Well, whatever. But my point was that before he even gets out of his division, he's playing Mahomes, Herbert, and Carr. And Carr has beaten Herbert. He's beaten Mahomes. He could beat Rodgers in Denver. My point was that now it's the same thing for Mahomes. Now Mahomes has got to deal with Burrow. He's got to deal with Herbert. He's got to deal with the Patriots and Mac Jones, who's going to get better.
He's got to deal with Josh
Allen, possibly Rodgers coming into that division.
Lamar Jackson,
like Deshaun Watson, wherever he ends up. The Colts, who if they made it to the playoffs, they beat the Chiefs. They could have won. I mean, to just think that, they're in trouble.
They are.
Because Kelsey's getting older. They're going to lose guys. And I think it gets away from him. Like the Patriots, they had their 3-year run early. They had to be reborn to come back and be what Tom Brady was. That wasn't just they were just winning and winning. They fell off for a little bit, and they were still competitive, but they weren't winning Super Bowls.
And to drive your point home, that's just the immediate. That's what he has to deal with now.
Yeah.
Now he's got to worry 3, 4, 5 years down the road, the teams that are rebuilding now. The Jets.
Yeah, if Zach Wilson turns out to be good.
Yeah, and that offense, they just dumped all that money into that offense and those picks on offense and defense. You got to look at him. These guys,
the Browns, if they could bounce back, they went toe-to-toe with them last year in the playoffs.
Pittsburgh's got great bones, whoever comes in to quarterback that team. Denver's got decent bones, whoever comes in to quarterback that team. Indianapolis has got great bones, whether they stick with Wentz or they bring somebody else in to lead that team. You're 100% right. They've gone there 4 years, and you wonder, how much did they squander? Because from here on out, it gets tougher.
I really like that Packers analogy because it shows, a team that, really thinks that they're, going to win it every year.
Be back and
it's you will, but, do you win the game that gets you to the final?
Shit happens.
Yeah. Because, you have hungry teams like Cincinnati. You have, these teams that, they realize what they have more than those other teams that, want it. You know what I'm saying? It's the Chiefs.
Well, it's going to be tough.
We're going to, time's
They're
ticking.
not just going to be the cream of the crop forever. Like I said, there's only been one team that has done that. It's been the Patriots did that consistently. But besides them, you can't expect that to be the case.